Say we should starve Gaza. What is it if not a war crime?
Yes, Israel is committing war crimes.
The group of thugs which are now representing the Israeli government.
I wanted to end today's videos with a few clips from a CNN interview with a former Israeli prime minister, as he even states that Netanyahu and Israel are committing clear war crimes in Gaza. So if you can, first take a moment, leave us a like on the video, lets us know you enjoy the content, helps us out in the algorithm, and let's get right into this important conversation.
Your criticism of this government and how it's been conducting this war is not new. You have been outspoken on that front for many months now, but going to this level and saying that Israel is in fact committing war crimes is something entirely different. I want to read from your piece. You said, "What we are doing in Gaza now is a war of devastation, indiscriminate, limitless, cruel, and criminal killing of civilians. We're not doing this due to some disproportionate outburst by some soldiers in some unit. Rather, it's the result of government policy, knowingly, evilly, maliciously, irresponsibly dictated. Yes, Israel is committing war crimes."
I would love to know what a war crime is, if not what Israel has carried out, with over 55,000 Palestinians slaughtered in just 19 months. The majority of those civilians, 20,000 of them children alone, food insecurity, disease rampant across the population, famine setting in, tens of thousands lost under the rubble, the number of dead likely to be in the six figures once all dust is settled and said and done, 80% of Gaza destroyed, hundreds of millions of cultural damage, hospitals ravaged, schools ravaged, places of worship ravaged. Hamas leadership has been decimated. Those responsible for October the 7th are largely dead. And Israel is still talking about annexing all of Palestine, ethnically cleansing each Palestinian, taking as much as 75% of Gaza. I mean, seriously, if not a war crime, what condition is missing here? Like, what is a war crime then?
The statements made by Israeli cabinet ministers, the leading cabinet ministers, that say we should starve Gaza. What is it if not a war crime? I mean, how can a serious person representing the Israeli government can spell it out in such an explicit manner that we should starve Gaza, that there should be no supply of basic fundamental humanitarian needs to a couple of millions of people living there. They are terrorists that we need to fight, but this is not a war against Hamas. This looks more and more like a political war of the Israeli Prime Minister and the cabinet and the group of thugs which are now representing the Israeli government.
And that's where the issue arises. This is a very westernized country. It's a U.S. ally, longtime U.S. ally. It receives hundreds of billions in aid specifically for military purposes. They are supposed to be able to carry out strikes and conflicts such as this without mass civilian casualties, children casualties, and the fact that they haven't, while also withholding aid as famine and disease and such sets in, it's indication that this is purposeful, especially when you keep getting the oopsies, like, oh, we bombed a hospital because we thought Hamas was there. We collapsed a residential building because we thought Hamas was there. We bombed a school because we thought Hamas was there. We shot a child because we thought Hamas was behind them. At some point, if the bodies keep piling up, you have to believe the intention is to keep the bodies piling up.
I do want to get you to weigh in on your views on where things stand with Iran negotiations and the increased reporting we've seen that if in fact these talks fall through, that Israel may be prepared to launch imminently. Do you think that is what Prime Minister Netanyahu would do?
The rhetoric of Netanyahu is well known, and we are all acquainted with the periodical threats that he poses to the Iranians. I still believe that there is a good chance that President Trump will succeed in these negotiations. He said just the other day that there are good signals coming from these negotiations. Obviously, Iran is a threat and is a danger, not just to the state of Israel, but to the entire region and perhaps to the entire world.
And this is why foreign politics is really hard and not something I suggest any newbies getting into politics try to foray into. You're probably going to make yourself look like a jackass because, and that's in the nicest way possible. I've done it Everybody does it when they're first learning geopolitics, because not only does it take a lot of historical understanding and context, but it also takes regional understanding and context, of which evolves over time as well, and how things may differ based on where said country is, who their neighbors are, the condition of their neighbors, where with the Middle East, it's never as simple as two countries. Even when you're talking about peace relations between two countries, like with Israel-Palestine, you have Iran as a player, Lebanon as a player, Saudi Arabia is always a player. If you can quell these countries' influence and their threat levels, the negotiations between any two countries become a little more direct, a little easier. Through this, you can see how something like Trump pulling us out of the Iran nuclear deal that had them massively crippled led to then having heightened tensions in the region and downstream effects that trickled down and helped cause the genocide we're now seeing. On top of the Abraham Accords disaster, the moving of the U.S. Embassy, these kind of horrendous decisions Trump also made in the Middle East and more. But you never get these conversations because instead, MAGA, to avoid all culpability, would just rather go, October 7th, 2023 was when Biden was president, so it's Biden's fault. It's like the most juvenile way to think of an incredibly complex thing. And as you learn about more systems and politics and how complex they are, you realize that it is this exact juvenile type of understanding. And then on top of that, elected Republicans preying on this exact kind of juvenile understanding that they know a lot of the population has, that prohibits any real conversations about these real issues that we have, because things often aren't binary. They're not black and white, not in real life.